You might be surprised or even shocked to hear what I'm about to say, but if you're seeing this video right now, it's no accident. God says you are a rare soul, not meant to fit in, and that your isolation is actually His protection. As a chosen one, you've likely felt out of place in a world that thrives on conformity, but there's a divine reason for that. Before we break down why this matters, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with 77 below to send a powerful signal to the universe. And if you're truly a chosen one, you'll stay until the very end. If not, you'll likely move on long before these truths can take root in your spirit. Chapter 1. The Strange Gift of Not Fitting. And sometimes you wonder why you don't fully blend with your peers or your environment. People you meet daily might label you weird or aloof, not grasping the watcher's orchestration behind your uniqueness. While society prizes acceptance and similarity, you stand out, sometimes painfully so. Yet this discomfort is actually a hidden gift, not a curse. If you melted into the crowd, you'd never realize the deeper calling the watchers placed upon your life. Your uniqueness isn't accidental. It's the spiritual signature that sets you apart to accomplish tasks others might never undertake. Without this distinctiveness, you'd slip into average patterns, ignoring the watcher's special missions. Over time, you sense that fitting in was never part of your blueprint. People might suggest you conform to find more friends, but the watchers see how your difference serves a larger purpose, blazing a path for others who also feel on the fringe, awaiting someone to model authenticity. Another aspect is that forced belonging often stifles the creative or intuitive gifts the watchers have given you. If you always took the popular route, you might bury your divine talents under a mound of compromise. People might say, "That's how it's done," but the watchers frequently defy norms. By standing out, even if it feels lonely, you stay aligned with a higher flow that fosters revelation, creativity, and spiritual synergy. From that vantage point, you can accomplish feats that baffle those entangled in conventional thinking. So if you've lamented your oddness or your inability to mesh seamlessly with groups, realize the watchers crafted you precisely for that reason. You're an exception, not a misfit. When that reality finally sinks in, you transform frustration into empowerment. People might remain puzzled, but the watchers are thrilled when you accept your outlier status. It means you're ready to take on roles that require a fresh perspective, an outsider's vantage, uncorrupted by groupthink. That's how your uniqueness becomes a tool rather than a social burden. Hence, the gift of not fitting in stands as an invisible credential, verifying you're chosen. Yes, it can sting when others misunderstand you, but the watchers assure you that your difference paves a richer path, unveiling extraordinary callings. Over time, you learn to cherish the very qualities that once set you apart, embracing them as the markers of a rare soul. And while people may scratch their heads, you relish the knowledge that the watchers see your value in ways the mainstream never could. Chapter 2. How Isolation Becomes God's Protection. God doesn't isolate you out of cruelty. Instead, the watchers arrange pockets of solitude to shield you from energies or influences that would derail your journey. People you meet daily might assume isolation is punishment for not fitting in. They say you're alone because you can't get along, but the watchers see it differently. Sometimes solitude is the cocoon where your transformation accelerates. Isolation removes distractions and the chatter of society, social gatherings, constant texts, busy agendas. You can't always hear the watchers' subtle guidance. By temporarily pulling you away from the noise, the watchers create a sanctuary for you to reflect, heal, and fine-tune your gifts. People might interpret this as loneliness, but it's actually a purposeful pause. Solitude magnifies your internal compass, letting the watcher's whispers ring clear in the silence. Another layer is protecting you from harmful associations. If you were too eager to be accepted, you might bond with negative influences. People might see that as normal social risk, but the watchers recognize your rare soul can't afford toxic ties. Your energy and mission demand higher quality connections. Isolation, albeit lonely, spares you from entanglements that would siphon your light or steer you off your path. Over time, you realize the heartbreak or rejections you once endured were God's deterrents, saving you from deeper harm. Additionally, isolation fosters deep self-awareness. Stripped of external validation, forces you to confront your authentic identity. People might fear isolation because it compels them to face unresolved traumas or insecurities. Yet the Watchers see that confronting these shadows readies you for the cosmic tasks you'll undertake later. If you never wrestled alone with your soul, you'd remain half-formed, lacking the spiritual depth the Watchers desire. Embrace that lonely mirror. Through it, the Watchers reveal your hidden strengths and the illusions you must discard. Hence, isolation operates as a divine shield. People may pity you, saying, "I'm so sorry you're alone," but you sense the Watchers turning your solitude into a fortress of growth. Each day, in quiet reflection, you glean clarity and stability unknown to those who avoid solitude at all costs. This vantage positions you to re-enter the world from a place of unwavering spiritual foundation. Once the Watchers decide your isolation phase is complete, you'll emerge equipped to fulfill roles that require a grounded, unshakable presence. So if you're in the season of solitude, realize it's not exile but protective love. The Watchers safeguarding a rare soul from energies unaligned with your destiny. Chapter 3. Discovering Purpose Through Standing Apart. Being singled out as a rare soul isn't merely about personal pride. People you meet daily might see a refusal to fit in as self-indulgence. But as a chosen one, the Watchers highlight your uniqueness to reveal your life's purpose. If you blended seamlessly, you'd never question the status quo enough to pioneer change. Therefore, the Watchers embed in your spirit a restless drive to challenge norms, explore deeper truths, and innovate solutions. That restlessness, while isolating, is the cradle of your calling. Often your most perplexing struggles, feeling misunderstood or underappreciated, are catalysts that push you to find a cause bigger than social acceptance. People might label you an idealist or too intense, but the Watchers relish how your intensity sparks breakthroughs. Instead of adopting the group's easy answers, you dig deeper. In doing so, you uncover new insights or designs that the Watchers want manifested in the world. Your rare energy also draws you toward niche problems or underexplored frontiers, places where mainstream attention hasn't yet focused. If you tried to conform, you'd ignore these frontiers, content to follow popular trends. Yet the Watchers designed you to see gaps and feel compelled to fill them. Whether it's championing a neglected community or pioneering a creative approach in your field, your difference becomes an advantage. People might wonder how you spotted these needs, but the Watchers orchestrate your perspective to notice what others overlook. As you invest time and talents in these uncharted missions, your purpose crystallizes. The sense of not fitting in morphs into a sense of belonging, belonging not to society's norms, but to the Watchers' grand tapestry. People might accuse you of living in your own world, but ironically, that own world is precisely the realm the Watchers shaped for you to inhabit. Here you flourish, forging a legacy that others eventually recognize as groundbreaking. Hence, discovering purpose through standing apart redefines what it means to be isolated. You're not lonely by accident. The Watchers meticulously place that sense of otherness to drive you beyond the usual. People may remain incredulous, stuck in patterns that stifle creativity. You, however, glean from the Watchers a confidence to chart new territory. Every time you harness your uniqueness for the greater good, you affirm the Watchers' plan, that your difference is the key to unlocking missions no one else can fulfill. Over time, your purpose radiates, attracting those who sense something extraordinary about you. And so your path from isolation leads not to despair, but to fulfilling your cosmic assignment in ways that echo the Watcher's vision for a world transformed by souls unafraid to stand alone. Chapter 4. Overcoming Loneliness and Embracing Divine Connection. Loneliness can strike deep when you realize you're not meant to fit in. People around you may have easy social circles or families that reflect them perfectly, while you stand on the margins, feeling like a cosmic misfit. But as a chosen soul, the Watchers remind you that the vacuum of human camaraderie is filled by a divine connection far richer than typical friendships. Accepting that fosters an inner calm no crowd can replicate, start by reframing loneliness as solitude, intentionally designed by the Watchers for spiritual bonding. People might say, You're isolating yourself. But purpose. But the Watchers see you recalibrating your soul to heavenly frequencies. In that stillness, you sense the Watcher's presence, receive guidance, and comfort that dwarfs superficial small talk. Freed from the cacophony of social demands, you connect with the source of unconditional love, discovering an intimacy with the divine that daily interactions can't deliver. Also realize that the Watchers aren't sentencing you to eternal human isolation. It's a season, a forging ground for you to rely on higher realms before the Watchers reintroduce you to kindred souls. People who judge might misunderstand your temporary withdrawal, but the Watchers want you to find contentment alone, so you never cling to people out of desperation. Thus, when new connections do manifest, it's from a place of self-sufficiency and authenticity. Another aspect is cultivating self-compassion. In the swirl of not fitting in, you might blame yourself, wondering, what's wrong with me? The Watchers counsel you to release self-criticism. Instead, treat your soul gently, acknowledging your unique blueprint. People might interpret self-compassion as self-indulgent, but the Watchers see it as foundational. Without compassion for your own being, you can't mirror the Watcher's empathy for yourself or others. Hence, leaning into divine connection dissolves the sting of loneliness. While people might question your solitary nature, the Watchers confirm you're never truly alone. In quiet moments, you experience a profound belonging to universal love. This realization seeps into daily life, replacing longing for group acceptance with gratitude for the Watcher's companionship. Over time, you marvel at how alone you were physically, yet how accompanied you felt in spirit. This sets the stage for future relationships built on deeper resonance, not desperation. Churn. Chapter 5. Tapping into the courage to stay true. Embracing your identity as a rare soul, not meant to fit in, requires unwavering courage. You might face ridicule, isolation, or the lure of conforming just to end the hassle. People may push you to tone down your differences, but the Watchers highlight that your unique spark is essential, not a liability. Your challenge is summoning the bravery to remain aligned with the Watcher's promptings, despite pressure from society or well-meaning loved ones. One source of courage is understanding the Watcher's perspective. They don't see your anomaly as a mistake. It's intentional. People might argue, you should just be normal. But the Watchers orchestrated your design to achieve something normal can't accomplish. By trusting the Watchers, you anchor your confidence in a cosmic blueprint, not fleeting human opinions. That perspective alone empowers you to withstand criticism without crumbling. Another tactic is forging daily affirmations of your calling. People might mock affirmations, calling them placebos. The Watchers know words carry potent energy. Remind yourself each morning, I am a chosen soul, guided and protected. My uniqueness is purposeful. The Watchers love such declarations, amplifying them to bolster your courage throughout the day. When naysayers appear, these affirmations surface, neutralizing negativity with the Watcher's truth. Third, remember past victories. Each time you overcame a challenge by following the Watcher's lead, it confirmed your path. People might forget or dismiss your earlier feats, but you recall the Watcher's consistent backing. Recalling these triumphs combats doubt when new trials loom. If the Watchers helped you then, why would they abandon you now? This chain of memories fuels the courage to keep forging ahead, unburdened by fear of condemnation or failure. Finally, accept that not everyone will celebrate your bold stance. Some might envy your clarity or resent your refusal to comply with unwritten social norms. Let them. The Watchers never intended you to measure success by universal approval. Their metric is integrity, growth, and alignment with divine tasks. By standing firm, you pass the Watchers' real test. Will you preserve the essence they sculpted or let social pressure dilute it? Hence, tapping into courage means rooting yourself in the Watcher's design rather than people's opinions. People may remain perplexed at your resilience, but the Watchers see your unwavering spirit as the bedrock needed for your next expansions. Each time you stay true to your outlier status, you deepen the Watcher's trust, opening channels for bigger blessings or revelations. In short, being a rare soul takes guts, and the Watchers supply it in full, if you pledge loyalty to who you truly are, no matter how the world reacts. Chapter 6. Witnessing the Fruit of Divine Isolation. Eventually, the season of seeming isolation shifts, and the Watchers unveil the reasons behind each lonely corridor. People might have thought your path fruitless, yet suddenly your dedicated work, self-development, or unique calling yields visible results. This is the fruit of divine isolation, manifestations of ideas or projects that flourish because you had space to nurture them away from prying or skeptical eyes. During isolation, you may have quietly honed a talent, writing, creating music, building a small business. People might not have noticed your labor. The Watchers ensured your solitude so you could focus. Now, as you reveal your craft, it resonates beyond your circle. Some might label your success overnight, never realizing the Watchers orchestrated your private incubation for months, even years. The Watchers smile, seeing how the seeds they helped you plant in quiet now bloom publicly in vibrant color. Another fruit is an unwavering sense of self. Where others second-guess their worth, you exhibit a calm confidence. People might marvel, how do you stay so centered? They don't see the Watchers training you in the hidden place of solitude, forging a resilience normal social interactions rarely provide. This self-assurance magnetizes opportunities and allies, further validating the Watchers' plan. Instead of chasing external approval, you radiate an authenticity that draws the right connections effortlessly. Moreover, the Watchers might bring forth the right partnerships at precisely the moment your readiness peaks. If you'd remained in the crowd earlier, you might have compromised or settled with people who didn't match your mission. People might see your newly formed alliances and call it luck. But the Watchers arranged your isolation so you wouldn't attach to lesser bonds prematurely. Now you meet individuals whose synergy with you is extraordinary, accelerating your mutual destinies in ways that defy mere coincidence. Lastly, the fruit includes spiritual clarity, knowing the Watcher's voice distinctly from the world's noise. You trust the intuition honed in solitude, applying it to real-world decisions without second-guessing. People may guess you have insider information or think you're eerily perceptive, but the Watchers trained you to discern their whispers throughout that season of quiet. That clarity now underpins your every endeavor, leaving less room for regret or confusion. Hence, witnessing the fruit of divine isolation proves that the Watchers' methods, though initially uncomfortable, yield remarkable harvests. People stand puzzled at your swift rise or composed poise. Meanwhile, you see the Watchers' blueprint unfolding just as they intended, confirming that each lonely hour served a bigger purpose. Solitude was never your permanent fate, but a strategic gap for the Watchers to refine your gifts. Having endured and emerged, you now operate from a vantage of power, insight, and authenticity that few ever reach. Rejoice in that harvest, for it's the Watcher's reward for your unwavering faith throughout the cold nights of aloneness. Chapter 7. Living proudly as the rare soul God intended. At this point, you stand in a place of acceptance. You're aware you are a rare soul, not meant to fit in, and that your periods of isolation were God's way of protecting and refining you. People you meet daily might still nudge you to assimilate or question your sense of purpose, but the Watchers have shown you your uniqueness as a badge, not a burden. By living proudly in it, you fulfill a vital role, offering a glimpse of what authenticity and divine empowerment look like in a world chasing trends. Living proudly doesn't mean arrogance. It's about acknowledging the Watcher's design and refusing to shrink for anyone's comfort. You speak your truth gently but firmly, unafraid to break from groupthink when the Watchers lead differently. People might brand you stubborn or rebellious, but the Watchers see it as fidelity to your calling. This unshakable sense of identity radiates hope for those who secretly yearn to step outside the mold but fear rejection. You also find new ways to share your experiences, whether through art, writing, conversations, or community leadership. People may ask why you're so open about being different, yet the Watchers use your story to spark breakthroughs in hearts that resonate with your struggles. Hearing how you overcame loneliness or found purpose in isolation can catalyze someone else's awakening. The Watchers love synergy, so each time you share, you spark ripples in someone else's spirit, forging a chain reaction of authenticity. Remember to guard your humility even as you stand tall in your uniqueness. The Watchers delight in giving you success, but they also caution that pride can creep in if you forget your source. People might feed your ego, calling you enlightened or the next big thing. Let the Watcher's voice overshadow such flattery, grounding you in gratitude for the cosmic synergy that shaped your path. By balancing self-assurance and humility, you remain open for ongoing expansions the Watchers might deliver. Finally, celebrate this ongoing evolution. You will likely cycle through fresh seasons of solitude or mismatch, each unveiling another layer of the Watcher's plan. People might wonder why you never settle into a mundane groove. The Watchers designed you to keep evolving, pushing boundaries and shining a unique light. Embrace it. This is your blueprint to live as that rare soul, forging new realms of purpose, truth, and influence that captivate those longing to break free from the ordinary. Thus, living proudly as the rare soul God intended means walking daily in unashamed authenticity, forging deep impact on those around you. People might remain puzzled, but the Watchers see every step aligned with your cosmic assignment. Each day you reaffirm, I am chosen, guided, and protected. You extend the Watcher's presence into a world starved for genuine examples of fearless individuality, and so your legacy grows. One not built on fitting in, but on standing apart exactly as the Watchers intended from the start.